The air was full of smoke, fire, and dust. Commander Ryan Holt stood at the edge of the crater, his boots sinking into the black ash. Around him, the other soldiers scanned the wreckage with their guns ready. Pieces of the alien ship were still burning, glowing red in the low light of the dying day. The smell of melted metal and strange chemicals filled the air. "Nothing should have survived that crash," said Sergeant Lin, stepping beside Holt. Holt didn't answer. His eyes stayed fixed on the twisted, broken shell of the alien escape. Pod below. It was half buried in the earth, its surface cracked open like a metal egg. Strange green fluid dripped from the sides, and small sparks flickered inside. Suddenly a sound, a high-pitched scream, soft, weak, but real. Everyone froze. "Did you hear that?" asked Private Dallin, his voice shaking slightly. "It came from inside the pod," said Holt. The soldiers looked at each other. No one moved. Another scream echoed, sharper this time. It was the sound of something alive, something small, something in pain. Sergeant Lin raised her rifle. "Commander, protocol is clear. Alien crash survivors are considered a threat until scanned and cleared. We wait for the science team." "That scream," Holt said, narrowing his eyes. "That's not a soldier. That's a child. Even worse," Lin muttered. "Could be bait. Could be infected. We wait." But Holt was already moving. He walked straight toward the wreckage, ignoring the warnings in his comms. "Commander, stop!" Lin shouted. "I'll take full responsibility," he said over his shoulder. "Cover me." The heat was intense as Holt climbed into the broken pod. His gloves melted slightly where they touched the metal. Inside, red emergency lights flickered. Broken cables hung like vines. A strange hum filled the air. Then he saw it. Curled in the corner, shaking, was a small figure. Blue-skinned, thin, child-sized. Its skin shimmered like glass. It had large black eyes, glowing faintly, and a small mouth that opened again, letting out another soft scream. It was bleeding. One of its arms hung at a strange angle. The rest of its body trembled with every breath. Holt crouched. "It's okay," he said softly, raising his hands. "I'm not going to hurt you." The alien child stared at him, too weak to run, too scared to trust. Behind Holt, Sergeant Lin's voice came through the comm. "Commander, scanners are showing no active weapons or toxins, but that doesn't mean it's safe. I'm bringing it out." "Sir, I advise against." He didn't listen. Holt carried the alien out of the wreckage in both arms. Like it was made of glass. It felt too light, too cold. The soldiers around him pointed their weapons, but didn't fire. Lin stepped forward. "What are you doing?" "Saving it." "Sir, you just violated 3 major protocols. You could be court-martialed for this." "Then do it," Holt said. "Later. Right now this child needs help." She stared at him, then gave a short nod. "Med drone now." A floating drone zipped over and scanned the alien. Its light turned yellow. "Wounded, but not dangerous. Let's get back to the shuttle," Holt ordered. But as they started moving, a shadow passed over them. They all looked up. High above, floating silently in the sky, was a ship. Not human. Not one of theirs. It was long and dark. No lights, no engines they could see. It didn't make a sound. It just hovered. Then, without warning, it vanished. No flash, no sound, just gone. The soldiers stood frozen. What the hell was that? Someone whispered. Holt looked down at the alien child. Its eyes were closed, but a faint glow now pulsed from its forehead, right where it had touched his chest earlier. 2 hours later, on board medical ship Aegis, the alien child lay on a medical table inside a sealed glass room. Doctors scanned it from outside. It was stable, no diseases, no weapons, no implants. But they didn't dare enter the room. Holt watched from behind the glass. "Any results?" he asked. Dr. Kell, the head xenobiologist, shook her head. "We've never seen anything like it." Its biology is flexible, like it's still forming. What do you mean? It's as if the child hasn't decided what it's going to be yet. Holt frowned. That doesn't make sense. Kell tapped on the screen. Its DNA is changing. Slowly, it mimics patterns around it. But not randomly, carefully, as if it's choosing. Holt stared through the glass. The child opened its eyes and looked directly at him. Later, that night Holt sat alone in his quarters, staring at his hands. His skin felt itchy. His right hand looked strange. The veins were darker. His fingertips were warmer. Then he saw a small glowing line on the back of his hand. Blue. Faint. Almost like a tattoo. But not drawn. He tried to rub it off. It didn't go away. Suddenly his door beeped. It was Sergeant Lin. You're being called to Central Command, sir. Video call. They want answers. Holt stood slowly. About the child? About all of it. The ship that appeared. The signal we intercepted before it vanished. And your decision to break protocol. Holt sighed. I'll deal with it. Lin paused. Sir, I saw how it looked at you, like it knew you. Holt said nothing. Central Command video briefing. Room Admiral Rains appeared on the screen, his face cold and calm. Commander Holt, you've placed this operation in jeopardy. Care to explain your actions? I saved a life, Holt said. You disobeyed direct orders. That alien could be a weapon, a trap. Or worse, it was a child, bleeding, crying. Children can carry bombs too. Holt's jaw tightened. Sir, with respect, he said, we don't know what this child is yet. But leaving it to die would have been wrong. Spoken like a man who lets feelings guide duty. Sometimes, Holt said, feelings are the reason we stay human. The Admiral said nothing for a moment. Then, you are being placed under observation. Return to Earth Base. Effective immediately. The screen went black. Back in the medical bay. Holt went back to the glass room. The alien child was awake now. Sitting up. It looked around. Confused. Scared. He walked closer. The child looked at him and reached out its hand to the glass. Holt hesitated. Then pressed his hand to the same spot. The glass pulsed. For a moment, they both felt something. Like a bridge between their minds. Images. Stars. Fire. Running. Then a face. Holt's own face. But older. Wiser. Standing at the front of a strange army. The vision ended. Holt stumbled back, breathing hard. The child collapsed. Alarms rang. Emergency medical alert. Dr. Kell rushed in. It's having a reaction. What kind? Holt asked, heart racing. Unknown. It's like the connection triggered something. It's evolving again. Inside the glass room, the child's body glowed. Bones shifted slightly. Skin rippled. Then it stopped. It lay still. Breathing. But now it looked more human. Holt stared. It changed. To match me? Dr. Kell nodded slowly. It's choosing you. Why? She looked at him, eyes wide with fear. I don't think. It was just a crash survivor, Commander. I think that pod was meant to land here. Meant to be found by you. Final scene. The quiet before the storm. Later, Holt stood at the viewing window, looking out into space. His hand still glowed faintly. Behind him, the alien child slept peacefully, watched by guards and scientists. But Holt couldn't shake the feeling in his chest. That ship they saw, that signal, the glowing mark on his hand. This wasn't an accident. It was a beginning. And somewhere out there, something was watching, waiting for the moment the child would wake up fully and change everything. He sat alone in his dark quarters, staring at the back of his hand. The glowing mark was still there. Blue, faint, but now slowly moving. The lines shifted like living ink under his skin, forming symbols he didn't recognize. Every time he blinked, the shape changed. He felt heat in his palm, like something deep inside was waking up. He covered the mark with a glove, It didn't help. Medical bay. Early morning, the alien child, still unnamed, was stable. It had slept through the night. Its new form looked closer to human. 5 fingers, no claws, and smooth skin. But the eyes were still alien, large and black, glowing softly. Dr. Kell stood beside Holt as they watched through the glass. "It changed again while sleeping," she said. "The heart rate is steady, brain activity normal, but—" "Too normal. What do you mean?" Holt asked. Kell showed him a scan. "Its brain patterns match yours almost exactly now. Like a reflection. It's syncing with you." "That's not possible." "It shouldn't be, but it is. You touched it, Commander. That mark on your hand, it's some kind of bond." "A bond?" "Biological, or maybe psychic." Holt's stomach tightened. He looked at the child again. It was awake now, looking back at him. And it smiled. Just a little, but it was enough to give him chills. Earth Defense Council, surveillance briefing back on Earth. In a dark room beneath the main tower, 5 high-ranking officers stood before a glowing screen. The footage showed Holt carrying the alien. Then the ship appearing overhead. Then disappearing without sound. General Strath frowned. No engine signature, no energy pulse. That ship didn't leave it, blinked out of space. Admiral Raines folded his arms. And the child knew Holt. It reacted only to him. Coincidence? Doubtful. Another officer pointed to the live feed from the medical bay. And now it's changing shape? Adapting to human biology? They all went silent. Finally, Raines said, "Prepare black-level containment. If this child is what I think it is, we need control before someone else takes it." Hangar deck. The malfunction later that day. Holt took a walk to clear his head. He entered the ship hangar. Just as alarms rang out, sparks flew from a repair drone. Lights flickered. The hangar's main door slammed shut, trapping 3 engineers. Inside, backup powers failing. Someone yelled. Then Holt heard a faint sound, a hum, from behind him. He turned and saw the alien child standing at the hangar entrance. No one had opened the sealed medical room. No alarms had triggered. It was just there. "How did you get out?" Holt asked. The child didn't speak. It looked at the broken drone, tilted its head and raised its hand. The drone powered on. Its sparks stopped. Its broken arm reconnected with a quiet snap. Everyone stared. Then more drones lit up, one by one, clean, calm, like the child had touched their minds. "What the hell?" One engineer whispered. Holt slowly walked to the child. "You fixed them." The child nodded once. Then it fainted in his arms. Security review hours later. Dr. Kell was furious. How did it escape the med bay? "No one knows," said Sergeant Lin. "No door was opened. No cameras saw it leave." Holt held up his marked hand. "I think it followed me, somehow." Dr. Kell looked at the security footage. All cameras went black for 12 seconds. Just static. Then they turned back on with the child gone. "This isn't an accident," she said. "It can move through tech. Or control it, maybe even bend light." Sergeant Lin frowned. "That sounds like advanced cloaking." "No," Kell said. "That sounds like intelligence far beyond ours." Holt's quarters. Later that night, Holt stood in front of the mirror. Shirt off. The glowing mark had spread. Now it reached up his wrist, forming lines across his veins. They didn't hurt, but they pulsed with heat, like energy flowing in one direction. He stared at it, breathing heavily. Then his gums activated by themselves. A voice came through, not human, not robotic, smooth. "Come, alien. Guardian, you have been chosen." Holt froze. "Who are you?" he asked. No answer. The voice faded. Only the mark on his hand remained, now pulsing faster. Alien words. "First contact attempt the next morning." Dr. Kell tried something new. She gave the alien child a touchscreen with simple pictures. The child looked at them, touched a few shapes, and then wrote something. Symbols. Curved lines, glowing softly. Kel scanned them. They weren't from any known language, but when Holt walked in, the child looked up, smiled, and pointed to him. More symbols appeared. Holt leaned in. What's it saying? The system translated something rough. The one who chose, the voice hearer, the open path. Kel stared. It's calling you what? Chosen? Or target, Holt said. I don't know what any of this means. Then the child pointed to his hand. The mark began to glow brighter. Military makes its move that night. Earth's Defense Council acted. A Black Ops team arrived on the Aegis. No insignia. No names, only orders. Commander Holt, by order of Earth. Command, the alien is now under full military control. You can't take it, Holt said, stepping between them and the child's glass room. One of the soldiers raised his weapon. Step aside, sir. Sergeant Lin appeared, rifle ready. Put your gun down. Tension filled the hallway, but then the glass exploded. A blue wave of energy pushed everyone back. Alarms screamed. Lights burst. And when they recovered, the alien child was gone. Again. The message hidden in static back in the surveillance room. Technicians replayed the explosion in slow motion. For a split second, inside the blast, symbols appeared. Not physical. Not visible to the eye. Only on the digital feed. It was a message. Dr. Kel enhanced the frame. What does it say? Holt asked. Kel looked pale. It's a warning. They are watching. The old enemy wakes. Protect the key. Holt didn't speak, but deep down, he knew what was coming. The dreams begin that night. Holt had a dream. He stood in a field of stars, alone. Then came fire, ships burning, planets falling, and the child floating in the sky, eyes glowing, arms raised. Behind her stood a tall figure in armor made of light. The figure looked at Holt and spoke. You opened the path. Now you must walk it. Holt woke up gasping, drenched in sweat. The mark on his hand burned like fire. Back in the wreckage the next morning, against orders, Holt took a small team back to the crash site. The alien pod was still there. But something had changed. Roots had grown around it. Strange crystals shimmered nearby. None of it had been there before. This place is growing, Sergeant Lin said. No, Holt whispered. It's remembering. He stepped into the wreckage again. This time, no screams. Only a faint voice in his head. Guardian. Return the air. He looked at the crystal wall. Symbols glowed across it. Holt reached out, and the wall opened. Inside was a smaller pod. Round, empty, a seat. Designed for one. He turned to Lin. This wasn't just an escape pod. What was it then? A delivery system. For what? He looked up at the sky. For her. The end of Part 2. Commander Holt now knows the child didn't crash by accident. It was sent. It chose him. And it's not just a survivor. It's a key to something ancient. Something dangerous. And someone is coming to claim it. Commander Ryan Holt stood quietly in the middle of the scrapyard. Old machines surrounded him, broken ships, rusted engines, dead drones. This place was outside the city dome, far from Earth base. No guards, no cameras. Just dust and silence. Alien child, now walking freely, stood beside him. She looked different again, taller, more balanced, eyes brighter. She still didn't speak, but she understood everything Holt said. You wanted to come here, Holt said softly. Why? The child raised her hand. The wind blew across the yard. And then, metal groaned. The machines wake up first. One drone twitched. Its dead eyes lit up dim red at first. Then blue. Then another drone powered on. Then another. Within seconds, a dozen. Broken machines stood straight. They made no sound. They didn't attack. They simply watched the child. Are they alive? Sergeant Lin asked, stepping forward. No, Holt whispered. She's controlling them. The child walked into the center of the metal circle. She touched one of the old drones. A spark jumped from her fingers. Into its chest, the drone opened its mouth and spoke, but not in a human voice. A deep, echoing sound came from the metal "Guardian." Guardian, air located. Protocol unlocked. Everyone froze. What did it say? Lin asked. The drone spoke again. Return the air. Prepare the path. The enemy watches. A message from the past. Holt stepped forward. Who are you? The drone answered. But the voice was no longer robotic. It sounded real, alive, ancient. We are the memory machines, carriers of the last voice, protectors of the bloodline. What bloodline? The first children, the Star Shapers. Their last seed now walks with you. Holt looked at the alien child. She watched the drone without fear. Your bond is accepted. You are the guardian. The path will open. Then the drone collapsed. So did the others, all at once. They went dark again. The scrapyard fell silent. The mark spreads, back on the Aegis ship. Holt looked at his hand in the mirror. The glowing mark had spread past his elbow now. Thin blue lines ran across his chest and shoulder. It didn't hurt, but it felt like something was waking up inside him. Your body is changing, Dr. Kell said after scanning him. But it's not harmful. It's like a system upgrade. Upgrade? Your muscles are faster. Your heartbeat is more controlled. Your brain scans are stronger. Holt shook his head. That doesn't sound like me. Kell looked at him seriously. It's not just her evolving anymore. You are too. The Council's fear grows back on Earth. Admiral Raines watched the footage from the scrapyard, the part where the machine spoke. He turned to General Strath. We were wrong. This isn't just a rescue situation. It's a first step toward what? A return, a claim. That child is royalty, or worse, a key to power. Strath's face tightened. What do you want to do? Raines didn't blink. Send a capture unit. Holt is no longer following orders. If he resists, terminate. The smuggler's warning 2 days later. Holt took the child to a hidden sector outside Earth's orbit. There, in a small space station, they met an old contact, Dren Vok, a former alien smuggler with one eye and a metal arm. You're crazy, Holt, Dren said, watching the child. You know what she is? I'm starting to, Holt answered. She's not just a royal, Dren whispered. She's a seed. One of the last of the Shapers. What are Shapers? They didn't build worlds. They bent them, controlled stars, moved moons like toys. Holt frowned. That sounds like myth. It was. Until I saw a star vanish. What? Dren nodded slowly. A Shaper child woke up too fast. A whole system burned before anyone could stop it. Holt looked at the child. She looked back at him, quiet, calm, but glowing. Dren leaned in. You're bonded now. If she grows, and you don't guide her, you'll both die. Or worse, she wake the old weapons. The enemy watches deep in space, on a ship cloaked in black mist. Another being watched the Earth feed. Its eyes were sharp and silver. Its armor was made of shadows. It watched the child touch the machines. It watched Holt's mark glow. It whispered to no one. The key has awakened. The Guardian lives. The hunt begins. Ambush and orbit on their way back. Holt's shuttle was intercepted. 5 stealth ships surrounded them. All Earth Command. Commander Holt, a voice came through. Shut down your ship. The alien is now under high-level control. Sergeant Lin looked at Holt. What do we do? The child stood still, but her eyes began to glow. No, Holt. Sod, putting a hand on her shoulder. We don't fight them. He opened the channel. This is Holt. You fire on us, and you'll trigger something you can't control. We're under orders. Then ignore them. A long pause. Then they opened fire. The power within the child stepped forward. She raised both hands. Blue waves shot from the shuttle. The enemy missiles stopped mid-air, frozen like glass. Then they fell. Harmless, into space. The ship's powered down. Every system dark. Inside Holt's shuttle, nothing was damaged. Everything still worked. The child's glow faded. She sat down, exhausted. Lynn looked at Holt. She didn't attack. She just stopped everything. Holt whispered, "She doesn't want war. Then why did they shoot at her?" Holt looked at Earth on the screen. "Because they're afraid." A new signal later. Holt received a strange transmission. A signal bouncing off old satellites, repeating. He played it back. A voice faint, layered, broken. "Guardian, come, memory gate awaits." Dr. Kell scanned the signal. "It's a location, deep space, outside mapped sectors." Holt nodded. "We're going." Lynn frowned. "We don't know what's there. We know enough." She needs answers, and so do I. Final scene. Preparing for the unknown as the Aegis ship changed course. Holt stood on the deck, watching the stars. The alien child stood beside him. For the first time she spoke. Her voice was soft, almost like music. "Your world is loud, but your heart is quiet." Holt turned to her, surprised. "You can speak now?" She nodded. The metal helped. The voice returned. "I remember, a little. Who are you?" She looked up at the stars. "I am Linu, the last Shaper Seed." Holt smiled faintly. "And what am I?" She took his hand. "The first guardian in 1,000 years." The stars outside the window of the Aegis ship moved slowly as it sailed through deep space. Commander Ryan Holt stood at the bridge, looking at the blinking blue light that marked their course toward the unknown coordinates from the mysterious signal. Linu, the alien child he had saved, sat quietly beside him. Her eyes flickered with a strange glow. Holt's mind was heavy. Questions filled his thoughts. Who sent the signal? What awaited them there? Was the promise of answers worth the risk? Suddenly, the quiet hum of the ship was broken by an urgent alarm. "Commander, we have incoming ships," Sergeant Lynn said sharply. Her hand hovered over the control panel. Holt frowned. "How many?" "5, fast approaching. They are not on our friend list." The ambush without warning. The enemy ships dropped out of stealth. They surrounded the Aegis, blocking all escape routes. A deep voice echoed over the coms, cold and mechanical. "Commander Holt, this is Captain Rax. You are ordered to surrender Linu and yourself immediately. Resistance will be met with lethal force." Holt's jaw tightened. He looked at Linu. Her small hand gripped his. "Sergeant, prepare for defense." "But no firing unless fired upon first," Holt commanded. The tension was thick. Everyone on board knew what was at stake. Linu was more than just a child. She was a key to ancient powers, and their enemies wanted her badly. The unexpected betrayal as the ships closed in. An unexpected message came through. "Commander Holt, this is Admiral Rains. You have been relieved of command. Surrender the alien immediately, or we will send reinforcements." Holt stared at the screen. The same admiral who once questioned him about saving Linu now demanded her surrender. "Why?" Holt whispered. Sergeant Lynn looked grim. "It's a trap." Suddenly, one of Holt's trusted officers, Lieutenant Merrick, appeared on the comm. "Commander, you need to comply. Orders come from the highest authority." Holt's heart sank. Merrick was his friend. "I'm sorry, sir," Merrick said. "It's orders." Holt's voice was steady but cold. "You're making a mistake." Locked down and surrounded, the enemy ships fired warning shots. The Aegis shook with the impact, but the shields held. "Lockdown initiated," Lynn said. "All exits sealed. The ship is on lockdown." Linu's eyes widened. She looked at Holt, then at the sealed doors. Holt went to her. "Stay close, no matter what happens." The bridge crew worked frantically, trying to find a way out. Suddenly, the ship's power flickered. "Power loss in the engine room," reported the engineer. "Sabotage," Holt muttered. "They've infiltrated us." Inside the engine room, Holt and Sergeant Lin rushed to the engine room. The door hissed open. Inside, a group of masked soldiers worked fast, planting explosives and hacking consoles. "Stop right there," Holt shouted. The soldiers turned, weapons raised. Lin fired a warning shot, breaking the control panel. A fierce fight began. Holt and Lin managed to disable the saboteurs, but the damage was done. The engines were critically damaged, cut off and alone with engines offline. The Aegis drifted helplessly in space. The enemy ships closed in again. "Commander, we're locked in orbit," Lin said. "They have us trapped." Holt stared at the blinking red lights of the engine consoles. "We can't let them take Linu," Holt said. "We have to find another way." Linu touched his arm gently. Her voice was soft but firm. "I can help." Holt looked at her surprised. "How?" he asked. She smiled faintly. "Trust me." "A dangerous plan." Holt gathered the crew. "We're going to use Linu's connection to the ship," he explained. "If she can interface with the systems, maybe we can restore power and escape." Everyone was nervous. Linu sat at a terminal. Her fingers glowed as she touched the controls. The ship HUMNED. Lights flickered. Slowly, the engines began to power up. The enemy strikes back. Just as the Aegis prepared to jump away, the enemy launched an attack. Missiles streaked through space. Shields flashed under the impact. Linu raised her hands. A wave of energy radiated from her. The missile stopped midair and fell harmlessly into the void. Holt watched, amazed. "She's stronger than ever," he said. But the danger was not over. The betrayal revealed suddenly. A hidden comm channel opened. Admiral Rains spoke directly to Holt. "You betrayed your species by protecting the alien. You leave me no choice." The screen flickered. Behind Rains stood Lieutenant Merrick. A betrayal that hurt Holt more than the attack. A fight for survival with engines repaired. The Aegis prepared to jump, but Merrick's team stormed the bridge. Gunfire erupted. Holt and Lin fought fiercely. Linu stayed calm, her power shielding them. After a brutal struggle, Holt's crew pushed the attackers back. "Jump into safety," with the enemy ships closing. Holt ordered the jump. The stars twisted and blurred as the Aegis entered faster than light travel. When they emerged, they were in uncharted space. A new beginning. Holt looked at Linu. "Where to now?" She smiled softly. "To the place of memory. The place where the first Shapers lived." Holt nodded. Together, they prepared to face the unknown. Commander Ryan Holt sat at the bridge of the Aegis, staring out at the dark, empty space ahead. The stars shimmered faintly in the distance, like tiny points of hope. But inside Holt's heart, a storm was growing. He did not know what awaited them, only that it was old. Very old. Linu sat beside him, silent and calm. Her eyes, glowing softly, were fixed on the star map glowing on the console. "We're close," she said softly. Holt nodded. "How close?" Linu pointed to a blinking blue dot. "Less than a day." The crew prepared for arrival. Everyone felt the tension. No one knew what they would find. But the signs were clear. This was a place of great power. A place of secrets. Arrival. At the forgotten world, the Aegis slowed as it entered orbit around a strange planet. It was covered in dust and rust-colored rocks. No signs of life. No cities. No machines except one. Far below, hidden in a valley surrounded by high cliffs, a massive structure rose from the earth. It looked like a giant machine, half buried and half alive. Its surface shimmered with faded blue lights like veins of energy running through metal. Holt stared in wonder. "Is that the memory machine?" Linu nodded. "It remembers the past. The first Shapers built it to keep their history safe." The ship moved closer. Sensors showed faint energy pulses coming from the machine. But there was no movement. No life signs. Exploring the ruins, Holt led a small team to the planet's surface. The air was thin and dry. The ground cracked beneath their boots. They made their way toward the machine, stepping carefully over broken pieces of metal and stone. As they approached, the machine's surface shimmered brighter. Strange symbols glowed along its sides. Linu reached out and touched the metal. Suddenly, a deep hum filled the air. The ground trembled. The machine began to wake. The voice of the past inside the machine. Walls of glowing light surrounded them. Ancient symbols floated in the air like stars. A voice echoed, "Guardian, you have come." Holt looked around, confused. "Who's there?" he asked. The voice answered. It was old and wise, full of sorrow and power. "I am the memory, the last voice of the Shapers. I hold their history and their warning." Linu stepped forward. "We seek knowledge. We seek the truth of what happened," the memory spoke. "Long ago, the Shapers shaped the stars. They were creators, but also destroyers. Their power grew too great. They fought among themselves. The war broke the galaxy. Only a few survived." Holt listened, fascinated and afraid. The warning, the memory's voice grew darker. "The last seed. Linu carries their legacy, but also their burden. The war seed sleeps inside her. If it wakes fully, destruction will follow." Holt looked at Linu. "You mean she could become a weapon?" Linu nodded. The memory continued. "But there is hope. The Guardian's bond can guide the seed. Together, they can choose creation over destruction." Holt clenched his fists. "Then we must prepare." "But prepare for what?" The memory replied, "For the enemy who waits beyond the stars. They watch. They wait for the war seed to rise." A hidden chamber. The memory led them deeper into the machine. Doors opened silently, revealing a chamber filled with glowing crystals. At the center lay a small, ancient device. "This is the core," the memory said. "It holds the essence of the Shaper's power. It can awaken or calm the seed." Holt approached cautiously. "What happens if it falls into the wrong hands?" "Chaos," the memory answered. "The galaxy will burn again." Linu stepped forward, placing her hand on the core. It glowed brightly, filling the room with light. Holt felt a surge of energy through his body. A strange connection that night. Holt dreamed again. He was inside the machine, standing beside Linu. The core pulsed with light. Suddenly, he saw visions, images of stars exploding, worlds breaking apart, and creatures of metal rising from the ashes. He heard a voice. "Guardian, the path you walk is perilous. Trust in the bond." Holt woke up sweating. The mark on his hand burned brighter than ever. Preparing for battle back on the ship, the crew worked to strengthen their defenses. They knew the enemy would come. And soon. Holt gathered his team. "We can't run from what's coming," he said. "We must face it. Protect Linu and the core." Sergeant Lin nodded. "We're ready." Linu smiled faintly. "Together, we will choose the future." The final warning, just as they prepared to leave the planet, the memory spoke again. "Guardian, the choice is yours. The seed can bring creation or destruction. Your bond will decide." Holt looked at Linu. "We choose creation," he said. Firmly. The memory's light pulsed once more. "Then may the stars watch over you." Departure into the unknown. The Aegis lifted off from the dusty planet. As they left orbit, Holt stared at the core safely stored in the ship's vault. The path ahead was uncertain. The enemy was near. But Holt felt a new strength within him, a bond that was more than just a mark on his hand. It was hope. The Aegis sailed through the vast emptiness of space, stars blinking coldly in the black sky. Commander Ryan Holt sat on the bridge, staring at the glowing core locked safely in the vault below. Linu sat quietly beside him, her eyes glowing faintly. With power she was still learning to control. The silence in the ship was heavy. Everyone waited, knowing something was coming, something dark, something old. The first signs. It began with dreams. Holt's nights were filled with visions of fire and destruction. He saw stars explode, worlds shattered, and metal creatures rising from ashes. In every dream, Linu stood in the middle of the chaos, her eyes bright but sad. One night, Holt woke up to find his hand glowing fiercely. The mark spread across his arm like liquid lightning. Linu was at his side immediately. "You feel it too," she said softly. Holt nodded. "It's the war seed. It's waking." The core reacts in the vault below. The core pulsed faster and brighter. It seemed alive, connected to both Holt and Linu. Dr. Kell studied the core's readings with worry. "This energy, it's increasing. Unstable. If it continues, it could explode." Holt frowned. "Can we control it?" Kell shook her head. "Not yet. We need more time." But time was running out. The enemy approaches. The Aegis sensors picked up an unknown fleet moving toward them at high speed. "Commander, incoming ships." "Unknown identification," said Sergeant Lin. Holt's eyes narrowed. "Prepare for battle." Linu stood, glowing stronger than before. "They're coming for the core," Holt said. "The battle begins." Enemy ships surrounded the Aegis, firing missiles and energy blasts. The shields flashed under the attack. Linu raised her hands. Blue energy shot from her fingertips, stopping missiles mid-air and sending them crashing into enemy ships. Holt fought alongside his crew, issuing orders and firing weapons, but the enemy was strong. Their ships moved with deadly precision. The war seed awakened suddenly. Linu screamed a sound not like a child's, but a powerful cry filled with rage and pain. Her glowing eyes flared bright white. The mark on Holt's hand spread across his chest and face, glowing like fire. Energy surged between them, a bond stronger than ever. The core in the vault exploded with light, sending a shockwave through the ship. Transformation as body changed. Her skin shimmered like metal. Her eyes blazed like stars. She rose above the deck, powerful and terrifying. "Stop!" Holt shouted, but he felt the power flowing through her. He couldn't control it. The crew watched in fear and awe. The enemy flees. The power of the awakened seed was too strong. Enemy ships retreated, leaving the Aegis behind. But the victory was hollow. Linu collapsed, exhausted. Holt rushed to her side. "A new threat, Dr. Kell analyzed the core's explosion. "It released a signal," she said. "A call to the enemy's leaders." Holt's face was grim. "They will come back." The Guardian's choice. Linu looked at Holt. "Guardian," she said, "I feel the war seed inside me. It is a storm. I can choose to control it or let it destroy." Holt took her hand. "We choose to control, to protect, together." She smiled weakly. Preparing for war, the Aegis set course toward a distant system, where all eyes waited. Holt stood on the bridge, watching the stars. The war was only beginning. The stars felt colder now. Commander Ryan Holt stood on the bridge of the Aegis, staring at the dark space ahead. Behind him, the crew moved quickly. Weapons were loaded. Shields were charged. The final battle was coming. Linu stood near him, quiet and still. Her eyes glowed like twin moons. Energy moved under her skin like flowing fire. She was no longer just a child. She was something more. Something dangerous. Something powerful. A message from the stars. Suddenly, a signal reached the ship. The sound was low, broken, like an old whisper. It came from a nearby system, one marked in red on the map. "It's them," Linu said softly. Holt nodded. "The enemy." "No," she said. "The ones who created the enemy. The last true shapers, the final clue." Dr. Kell decoded the message. It showed a hidden planet deep in a dying star system. The message warned of a gate opening soon. When the gate opened, the enemy would pour through from another galaxy. They were not just coming for the core. They were coming to end everything. The journey to the dead star. The Aegis traveled fast. The crew worked day and night. They didn't talk much. They all knew this could be their last mission. When they reached the dying star system, the light was strange. The sun was weak, barely burning. Planets around it were dry dead, cracked like broken glass, but one planet was different. A black world, cold, silent, waiting. The gate on that world, deep inside a mountain, was the gate. It looked like a ring of metal and crystal, taller than the croquet. Aegis itself. Energy crackled around it. Strange markings glowed red. Linu stepped forward. "I can feel them on the other side," she said. Thousands of minds, cold, angry. Holt looked at her. "Can we stop it?" Linu nodded slowly. "Yes, but it will cost something." A plan with no second chance, Dr. Kel gave the crew a short briefing. The gate is powered by an ancient core buried deep under the mountain. If we overload it, the gate will collapse. Holt understood. "And the enemy will be trapped forever." "Yes," Kel said. "But anyone still inside will be destroyed too." Linu said nothing. But she looked at Holt for a long time. The battle begins. Suddenly, the sky cracked open. Enemy ships poured out of the gate like a flood, black, sharp, fast. The Aegis lifted off and fought back. Explosions filled the sky. The crew fired every weapon they had, but more ships kept coming. The mountain shook. The gate grew brighter. "They're coming through faster now." Sergeant Lin shouted into the core. Holt and Linu ran into the mountain. The path was old, broken, but Linu's power cleared the way. They reached the core room. It pulsed with dark red light. Energy flowed through giant cables into the gate above. Linu placed her hands on the core. "It's alive," she whispered. "Can you stop it?" Holt asked. "I can, but I must connect with it fully." A dangerous choice. Linu looked at Holt. "If I do this, the war seed in me will burn. I may not come back." Holt's heart sank. "There must be another way." She shook her head. "There isn't. You saved me once." "Let me save you now." He grabbed her hand. "I won't leave you." "You must," she said softly. "You're the guardian. If you die, the bond dies with you. And then there will be nothing left to fight for." The good Linu smiled a soft, sad smile. "You gave me a choice. A chance to be more than a weapon." Holt couldn't speak. His throat was tight. His eyes burned. She stepped into the core's light. It surrounded her, wrapped her in glowing energy. She turned one last time. "Thank you, Ryan Holt." Then she disappeared into the light. The collapsed mountain began to fall apart. The gate sparked and screamed. On the Aegis, Dr. Kell shouted, "The gate's destabilizing. Everyone back." The ship pulled away as the mountain exploded in white light. The gate shattered. The enemy fleet stopped moving, then disappeared. Silence fell across the system. No more signals. No more ships. Only stars and the broken planet below. The aftermath. Days passed. The Aegis returned to a human outpost near the edge of the galaxy. The crew was tired, some wounded, but alive. Holt sat alone in his quarters. He stared at the mark on his hand. It had faded, but it still glowed faintly like a heartbeat. A message left behind. Dr. Kell called Holt to the lab. "We found this," she said, handing him a small crystal. It was glowing softly. He placed it into the console. Linu's face appeared, smiling. "If you're seeing this, I made it." Her voice was calm. "I don't know what will happen next. Maybe peace, maybe another war. But I believe in you. In humans, in choice." She paused. "You saved me. Now it's your turn to save others. Be the guardian, not of me, but of the future." The recording ended. Holt wiped his eyes. A new beginning later. Holt stood on the bridge again. The stars looked different now. Still cold. Still dangerous. But full of hope. He turned to the crew. "Set course," he said. "Where to?" Sergeant Lin asked. Holt smiled. "Wherever there are people to protect." The engines hummed. The Aegis moved forward, into the stars. Warseed was gone, But the story was just beginning. The end.